Today on Yellowstone Teton's Traveled podcast.
Blackfoot Reservoir is just one of our favorite spots to go camp. And so we went out there to check out some camp spots and see where we're going to, be next weekend. So yeah, there's a lot of recreation around here. And we spend a lot of time in our region. We love to get out of the state and go see other things. But a lot of times when we're just looking for a quick getaway, there's always something that we find here in our region to do.
Destiny Egley describing what keeps her coming back home, continuing to build our road trip out west, today on Traveled. Welcome to Traveled, where it's all about the journey we are all on in fly fishing and in life. This is a chance to take a deep dive into a specific area around the country so you have a better feel for the people, the resources, and community that make this part of the country so unique. Before we get rolling with our guest here, I want to share the love with our Traveled sponsor. This podcast is powered by Swing Outdoors and the Wet Fly Swing podcast and Yellowstone Teton Territory. You can head over to wetflyswing.com/Teton right now, and if you get a chance, visit a hotel, any of the places we talk about today. We're going to dig in and share some really cool activities, pit stops, and good stuff along the way. This week, Destiny describes why Lava Hot Springs is a must-stop on your road trip, how they keep their cost amazingly low, and why and how they do the no-sulfur hot springs. This is a little big benefit if you've been to some hot springs. Time to experience the road less traveled. Here we go. Destiny Egley from lavahotsprings.com. How you doing, Destiny?
Great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for putting a little time together to jump into a little on Lava Hot Springs. One of my favorite. We're always looking for new hot springs, as we're traveling around, and it looks like you have a pretty large facility. I want to talk about that today because we're heading out to your neck of the woods. We're doing a big trip out there, and we're going to be doing some different events. So maybe we can just start with, I want to dig into what it is, but maybe you can just talk about for yourself how you kind of found yourself working with the group. I know you do some different things, but how did you come into that part of Idaho and working there?
So 20 years ago, I had decided to move here with my husband. He had moved to Utah. We lived there. I was born and raised in Utah. And so after I met him, we decided to raise our kids in a small town. And he was born and raised here in Lava Hot Springs. So that's what brought me to Lava. I was working at the local grocery store in town, when I first moved here. So it was really nice. I think that helped me meet a lot of people and get to know a lot of locals and things like that. And a couple months after I had lived here, this position came open here at this is a state of Idaho facility, and the job come open and I put in for it and I got the job offer, and it'll be almost 20 years that I've been here.
Oh, wow.
I haven't left. So it's a good job. So yeah, the Lava Hot Springs Foundation is a state-owned facility. And what's really cool about that is that we are the only agency within state of Idaho that is self-funded. People think that we get dollars from, tax dollars and things like that, but we don't. We operate our facilities on our admission fees.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's really cool. I love the job. I started out as an office specialist for many years, and then I kind of recreated the position over time with the extra duties that I was willing to take on. And then the director at the time, we were in need of a grant administrator for Southeast Idaho. And the goal of this position was somebody that was going to get paid and not be a volunteer position, because that's typically how grants are operated, is through volunteers. And we wanted something more sustainable and long-term. And so we incorporated the grant administrator job into my position and rewrote my job description and renamed my position at that time. Or I should say a couple years after I had been the grant administrator. So I kind of have two jobs within one job here at the foundation.
Yeah, that's smart. And where is where is Lava Hot Springs, like in relation to, say, I'm always thinking, it's southeast Idaho, but what would be the nearest bigger city?
The nearest bigger city is Pocatello, Idaho, which is about 32 miles from Lava. But other than that, more relevant, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, wow.
Yep, we're 2.5 hours from the Salt Lake City airport.
That's right. So Salt Lake, yeah, you just basically go south and hop on I-15, right? And you're heading down.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Stay on I-15 and head this way. And we're a gateway to Yellowstone. So that's typically where we get a lot of our traffic. And our goal is to get them off of the interstate and see some of those things to do along the way off the interstate, off the normal route to Yellowstone. We want to catch them and, make a pit stop here.
Right. And I'm sure that we actually passed, because we were there a couple years ago, probably passed right by you. Or maybe we didn't. I can't remember the exact route we took, but we went into Yellowstone and we're heading back into that area, like I was saying, later this year. So this is great.
Awesome.
Yeah. What is Lava Hot Springs like? And I mean, there's hot springs all around the country, around the world, and there's some are better than others, but makes Lava Hot Springs kind of the unique, world famous Lava Hot Springs?
Well, I would say that makes it the world famous is one, we do not have any sulfur in our waters.
Oh,
So
wow.
you don't get that stinky egg smell. They're crystal clear. We have over 2.5 million gallons that flow through in 24 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's insane. So every 2.5 hours, our waters have replenished itself through our 5 pools that we have.
Oh, my goodness.
So up at the top, the main spring where the water comes in, it's our largest pool, but it's also the hottest pool, and it comes in from the ground at 112 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, as it flows through the pools, it gets cooler. So it ranges anywhere between 112 to 102, depending on the pool that you're in.
Gotcha. So 112. And so people, I'm thinking about the old, the hot tub, it's 104, but 112 or 112, you can get into that. That's still reasonable.
Yes, it's hot. And especially this time of year in the summer, it does feel hotter just because it's hot outside.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
In the winter times, that hottest pool is more popular because I think people can stand it a little bit longer because it's cooler outside. So it doesn't feel as hot. But, we're clean. We're a state-owned facility. So all our employees are state employees. And so we have a great staff that maintain our facilities, as well as our customer representative. We call them customer service representatives that, help our customers. And I think overall, it just really is the pride that we get by working here. It's one of those jobs where you're proud of where you work. We keep our facilities very clean, top notch. It's inexpensive for the most part compared to a lot of other hot springs. We have lots of minerals. We have a lot of minerals, but we don't have as many as some of the other hot springs around. And I don't know. They say, minerals are healing and they call them the healing waters. But I really just feel that ours are just, they're just clean and fresh, and it's just a great destination.
That is great. Yeah. And I've been to some hot springs, definitely. Yeah. The price is one thing. It's not cheap. Some of these private places you go to. I'm sure there's all different levels, but so that's definitely one thing. And then just the cleanliness also is nice. The fact that it's, a state-run facility. So definitely, higher top notch. What would it cost? Like just rough, if somebody's coming there, and I'm sure you have different things people could test out, but just to get in there and hop in, what does that cost?
Yep. So all our prices are one-time entries. And so Monday through Thursday, we really try to entice people to come on those days. It's a little bit cheaper. It's not as busy. And so the cost for that, ages 12 and up, is $8.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So it's very inexpensive. $7.50 for kids and seniors. If you're over 60, you get a 50-cent discount. And then on the weekends, it's $12 for ages 12 and up, or for kids and seniors, it's $10.
Wow. Yeah, you can't beat that. I think the last place we went to, we paid, I think we paid like $100 just for getting in or something like that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's kind of that's the nice part about being state owned is, we do try to keep our rates low, even though we are self-funded. We want to make sure that they are comparable also for the surrounding areas. Southeast Idaho, as we know, Idaho is lower cost of living.
Oh, it is.
It is. So we don't want to outprice, our people.
And that's what's interesting, because we've been setting up, I've been setting up a trip. We're heading out there fishing in October. And what we've been finding is it's actually really expensive where we're going. I mean, we're heading over to, we're going to be like on the Henry's Fork. So I guess we're up a little bit up north. But I mean, I guess in what we're doing is setting up kind of some like our own lodging. So it wasn't cheap to find like catering, right, and stuff like that. But I think, like you said, in general, Southeast Idaho isn't as expensive as, say, wherever other parts of the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yep.
Which is good.
Yep. And I think that's why we are also a really strong tourist attraction, because people, families especially, can afford it. We have a lot of the Mormon settlers in the areas, in Idaho and Utah. And so they have lots of kids,
right?
And so they have to be able to afford a trip. And sometimes they can't afford that trip to Mexico or Hawaii or something extravagant, but they can afford a trip to Lava Hot Springs or even Southeast Idaho. We have Bear Lake that is, a couple hours from us, that is another amazing spot people love to go and recreate.
And what is the Bear Lake?
So Bear Lake, it's a large, it's huge. I don't even know how big it is.
Where would you go to find it?
Yep, it would be east of us, but the lake borders, or it straddles, Utah and Idaho.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, Bear Lake. Yeah, it's gigantic.
Yep, it's gigantic.
Right, by St. Charles.
Yes. We get a lot of travelers from there too. Like they might hit, if they're coming from Utah, they might hit Bear Lake, and then they come up to Lava, and then they come up through Lava and then go over to Yellowstone back onto the interstate. So we'll get a lot of people that'll take that route just because they can hit kind of, and it's different recreation points. So they're hitting the beach, the lake, and the, paddle boarding, wakeboarding. You can rent boats, things like that there. And so they have a lot of fun there. And the fishing there is amazing.
Oh, it is. Bear Lake.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So in Bear Lake, they have rainbow and cutthroat trout. They have lake trout and yellow perch and a mountain whitefish. So that's a really nice place. A lot of boaters go out there. It's just so big that people really enjoy the recreational aspect and fishing there.
Perfect. Well, when people, at Lava Hot Springs, it looks like you have a bunch of different types, including isn't there like a slide and stuff like that for kids? Is there a mix of things to do? Or is there stuff from like the kids all the way up to like maybe finding a quiet? Do you guys do the spa thing and all that too?
So we don't have a spa. There is a couple places in town that offer massage therapy and a few things like that. The Lava Hotel and Spa do have some of those spa type amenities. We do also run the Olympic Swimming Complex and Indoor Aquatic Center. So the Olympic Swimming Complex is a summer outside facility. It's got the water slides, diving boards, diving towers, the kiddie shallow area, basketball. But then we also have an indoor year-round pool. It's just a 25-yard pool, but it has a rock climbing wall.
Oh, wow.
A diving board. There's a hot tub there is one hot tub there that has the mineral water in it from our hot springs. Other than that, the rest of that facility is chlorinated water. Then we also have a kiddie pool that's there as well. And so that's real fun for the little ones. If you're trying to keep them shaded, not get a lot of sun, the Indoor Aquatic Center really is a fun place for the little ones to be. But that outdoor swimming pool is open from about mid-May to Labor Day weekend. And then we shut down that outdoor pool for the season. It's just too cold here. Our temps drop into the 50s, 60s in the night, in the evenings. And so it's just too cold. We don't keep it open, longer than that.
Gotcha. So if we were coming there in early October, would you still have some facilities open there?
Yep. The hot pools are open year round, 363 days a year. And then the Indoor Aquatic Center will be open, which is that indoor facility.
Okay, perfect. And it sounds like you get a diverse mix of people, kind of from all over the country, types of travel. It sounds like a lot of outdoor activity. Would you say there's one type of person or family that's coming there? Or is it just a big mix of people?
Big mix of people. So, it just we have a little of everything to do for people. So that's what I love about Lava, and what attracted me, way before I moved here was, if you wanted to come to Lava and you wanted to relax, there was the hot springs. If you have your kids with you, you're wanting to splash and play, have lots of fun, make those memories with the swimming pool, dive in, sliding down the slides, then the swimming pool was there. There's also tubing down the river. It is a natural river. It's the Portneuf River.
Oh,
And
right.
the Portneuf, yep, it flows right through Lava. And so we have a lot of tubers that will go down there. And, we don't recommend any kids under the age of 4 or even 5, just because of the danger. It's lava rock that's underneath in this river. So if your tube tips, you're going to get scraped up pretty good.
Yep.
There are times when it's too high that we don't recommend floating. That happened this year just with all the water that we got. And so, the tube stands took a little longer to open up, but there's tubing. There's a zip line tour. Yep. Just outside of town, you can reserve and book a zipline tour. There's lava go-karts. You can go and ride little go-karts and get muddy. There's shopping. We have a brewery coming in soon. There's an awesome pizzeria. There's lots of little restaurants that you can eat. There's an ice cream shop that has square scoop ice cream that everybody raves about.
Perfect.
So there's just a lot of things to do from the baby boomers down to the families that, want to come in, and even, just those single people that just want something fun to do and not too expensive.
Yeah, this is perfect. Now you're saying I've got a couple little kids, so I think everything you talked about is perfect. So
yep, bring them along. They will love it.
Awesome. And then if people are staying, it looks like, you have some hotels, like you mentioned already, a couple of them. There's some cabins, and then there's a campground, right? There's a couple campgrounds upriver from you a little bit. Lava Campground, is that nearby?
It is. And we actually have 11 campgrounds in and around the town of Lava. And then we have over 500 accommodations, which would include the hotels, motels, cabins, Airbnbs, VRBOs, your basic camp, site for tenters, larger sites for those big, large RVs that we are seeing more and more of. We have so many accommodations to attract any kind of traveler. We also even have theme roomed. Lionsgate Manor is theme roomed, and Greystone Manor, they both have more of like the theme room facilities where, like the B&Bs, they're a bed and breakfast. So very, very accommodating to any type of traveler coming through. But we have people come from all over the world, and it's amazing to see the difference. I think just a couple of weeks ago, we had some people from London here. We had some people from Germany. So it's been really cool to see those people come through, all the different diverse, nationalities. But what's also cool is we have tour buses that come here. The Korean tour buses stop here at the hot springs. This is one of their main attractions. They purchase a tour out of California, and they stop through here because they're wanting to go to Yellowstone.
Oh, Yellowstone. Yeah, of course.
Yep. And so this is one of their stops. And so we'll have a bus of, 30, 35 people come through, soak. They're here maybe at 45 minutes, and then they're on their way to the next stop. We have a lot of interest from all over the world.
Yeah.
From people all over the world that like to come visit us.
What would be if you're in Lava Hot Springs, I guess, in heading to Yellowstone, I guess you can go either way. You can go back through Pocatello and up, or you can go down Soda Springs. I guess the main highway kind of goes down and then back up. What do you think most people are doing to get to Yellowstone from where you're at?
I think most do the interstate through Pocatello, just because it's the interstate and not the highway.
Yeah.
The highways travel, it's fine to travel on, and it's a great road. It's just a one lane.
Yeah. Takes you longer. Yeah.
It takes you a little longer. So if a person has a little bit more time, I highly recommend going through Soda Springs and going that way. You can stop in Soda Springs and see the geyser.
Oh, really?
Yep, there's a geyser there. Some people claim it's bigger than Old Faithful, but honestly, I don't think it is. But it is awesome. It's a very, very neat attraction. It goes off every hour on the hour. So if you're going through that area, stop by. There's wayfinding signs to stop and see it. And, hit there. From there, go through Soda, go over to Jackson Hole. That's always a cute little place to stop and see, all the things. And
Yeah, Jackson Hole. That's right. It's probably not too far from Soda Springs. I'm guessing it's probably less than 2 hours up there, maybe.
Yeah, you're about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah.
Yep.
And then you take a nice cruise down, even down south. I haven't been through that area, like Montpelier, down through that.
Montpelier.
Yeah, Montpelier, and then over through Geneva, and then you're over into Wyoming, and then up 89, Highway 89.
Yep.
Which is great. Yeah. So it sounds like you've traveled a little bit around the southeast part of Idaho. Do you find yourself kind of doing your own kind of exploring out there when you're not working?
Yes, we do. We actually own a side-by-side, a UTV.
Oh. And
so we're blessed that way. We can leave right from our home and go, wherever.
It's a side-by-side. Is that like a vehicle?
It's a off-road vehicle. There's several types. The kind we have is a Polaris General. And so it's just fun. You can get, on those off-road trails. And we just did a ride over the weekend, went from our house just outside of Lava here and drove all the way over to Blackfoot Reservoir. And I mean, it was a 10-hour day. I think it was like 125 miles. It was a nice ride. It was an all day, but you just see so much country.
All right. So you took your vehicle, your all-terrain vehicle, you didn't even drive your car. You just could drive right from Lava out, and that's pretty amazing.
Yep. Yeah, we have hundreds and hundreds of miles of trails in Southeast Idaho to ride. And so we enjoy that. We used to fish. My husband ice fishes. So there's Chesterfield Reservoir that he likes to go to. Blackfoot Reservoir is one people like to go ice fishing.
Yeah, Chesterfield. I've heard of that one.
Yeah, there's lots of reservoirs and lakes around the area where, people like to boat and fish and do all the things. And so Blackfoot Reservoir is just one of our favorite spots to go camp. And so we went out there to check out some camp spots and see where we're gonna be next weekend. So yeah, there's a lot of recreation around here, and we spend a lot of time in our region just because a lot of times that's what we have time for. We love to get out of the state and go see other things, but a lot of times when we're just looking for a quick getaway, there's always something that we find here in our region to do.
Yeah, that is really cool. Nice. All right. Well, so we've got a little primer on some of the things you have going. I mean, what do you think people that are coming there that know of the hot springs, or maybe they've been there before, what is the thing they really love? Do you think, is there one thing that people really are coming back, for? Obviously you've got the great clean water, or are there other things that we haven't talked about today you might highlight?
I think for the most part, when people come here, we are the reason they are coming is because of the hot springs. I really do feel that is why they come here. But then while they're here, they have so many options of other things to enjoy. We have the indoor pool if they have the kiddos with them. Maybe it's nightlife that they're wanting. Maybe it's, they're going to go fishing. Snowmobiling in the winter is huge. So we'll get a lot of people that will warm up. They've been snowmobiling all day. It's cold. Maybe it's a windy day and they need somewhere to warm up. So they'll come and warm up. Hunters, fishermen, they might be fishing all day or hunting all day, and then they'll come and warm up or just soak their sore muscles from hiking all day or whatever it may be. I think that the hot springs really are the main reason why people come here, but they have so many other options while they're here. A lot of times we'll see hunters and fishermen that will come and leave their wives here in town while they go shopping all day while the guys are out hunting or fishing or doing their thing, and they meet up in the evenings for dinner and maybe hit the local pub and have a couple drinks or whatever.
Yeah, That's great. And then for Chesterfield, how long does it take to get there from where you're at?
From Lava Hot Springs, it's about a 45, maybe a 40-minute drive.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, we had a guest that was talking about stillwater fishing, and he highlighted Chesterfield. He said that
Really?
he said that was a really great fly fishing lake, I guess. So that's, again, building this trip, I could see, cruising down through Lava, stopping by there, and then either way, either after or before fishing, and then you head up and eventually work your way up towards, wherever, like we said, Jackson or anywhere. And so it seems like there's just, unlimited amounts of things to do, right? Whether that's fishing or, what are the other outdoor activities that you hear about out there that people really love?
Besides the snowmobiling, we have, in the winter time, there's snowmobiling, there's cross country skiing. There, people like to go snowboarding and skiing up at Pebble Creek ski area. That is just outside of Ingham, which is maybe 20 minutes, maybe a 30-minute drive from Lava. So that's another thing, they'll go skiing all day and then they come warm up at the hot springs. So there's good skiing. There's several museums in town, not in town, but in Southeast Idaho. And so people will go do a history tour or maybe a geology tour. We have Minnetonka Caves, Paris Ice Caves that are over near Bear Lake. All the water sports that we have, the hiking, the biking. Pocatello has a lot of biking and hiking trails.
Oh, right. Like mountain biking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we have the surrounding hot springs. There's, they just changed names and I can't recall the name. It was Riverdale Resort outside of Preston. And, they have hot springs there. There's also Downetta Hot Springs that's a half an hour from Lava. So people go to Downetta or American Falls Reservoir or Indian Springs is just outside of American Falls. So there's a lot of, surrounding area with hot springs. Besides, we have the camping and there's golf courses all throughout our region. We have a 9-hole golf course just here in Lava that people enjoy. So yeah, there's just a lot of outdoor recreation.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the hub. And that's what's cool about it, right? There's not a giant city nearby. Right. It's kind of, like you said, and the cost of living isn't super high. So It sounds like a pretty good place to live. What's the downside of Southeast? Because it seems like it's a pretty cool place to live. What are the things? Yeah.
Well, so the downside would be, with the market since, COVID, things just as we know everywhere, it's gone crazy. What we're finding is it's hard to find employment. It's hard for employers to find workers. We are struggling with finding people don't want to work. Or maybe because of COVID, they found those online jobs where they can work from home. And so we've seen that shift where we struggle with finding employees. And when you're a tourist town, that makes it difficult. So that's one of the things that I would say is hard. The other thing that's happened is all of a sudden people think that, yes, Lava is an attraction. It's a tourist town, but they think that they can get millions of dollars for their little tiny home. And so the market has really shifted, and that has made it rough for locals to live here. So if you're getting Utah, California, Texas, you're getting people from those areas, they can sell their home for over $1 million and come buy a $700,000 home in Lava. They think that that's cheap.
Right.
But to us locals,
that's
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And so I think that that's probably the downside currently is we're seeing, these homes that aren't much and they're selling for outrageous amounts. And then it just pushes the locals out of the market to even afford to buy something. So we're seeing a lot of families leave our area and go to Pocatello, other bigger cities where they don't have to commute so far for work, but to be able to afford it. But even Pocatello has gone up. As we know, I think even, you there.
Everything
It has gone up. Yeah. And so we're seeing it everywhere. But I think that's kind of the struggle from what I hear from our local residents. And over the years, when I first moved here 20 years ago, Our city limits population was probably over 600, and now it's under 400 for year-round population.
Gotcha. You've lost. Yeah, you've lost people.
We've lost people because, of course, a lot of people that have lived here are all their lives, they've either passed away or they've had to move in with family members to be taken care of. And so we see a lot of that, but a lot of families we've seen move out because they can't afford it. And then I don't know, I guess for me, I just struggle with seeing that population go down, because then we struggle with finding people to run for city council.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to, and again, the
basic stuff.
jobs, the basic stuff, just
Yeah.
being able to run the hot pools and swimming pools, the restaurants in town, things like that. They have to really be strategic on when they're opening, when they can close for a couple days just to get a break, because you don't want to burn out the employees you do have.
Yeah, that's right. So those people that are coming there from around the country, with lots of money, are they just buying these as like second homes sort of thing? Or
Yep.
Are they moving? Yeah.
Yep. Second homes, and then they're renting them out.
And they're renting. Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Airbnbs and VRBOs. And, in a year, so just to give you an idea of, now the population, for our year-round attendance for both hot pools and swimming pools, we get over 500,000 people through Lava every year. That's just our numbers here at the hot pools and swimming pools, but we don't know how many people that are tubing the river that don't visit our facilities, right? And so when you have, maybe, I can't think off the top of my head how many, but I'm going to say 8 places to eat in Lava, that's hard to take care of 500,000 people.
Right.
It's not all at once, but on an average weekend, we're pushing 3,500 to 5,000 people a weekend.
Yeah.
And so to feed that many people, in these restaurants, they're working their butts off, and we hope that the tourists appreciate that. And, sometimes it's not the best service, if they're that busy. And so, we ask for patience, because a lot of times it's just hard.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. We were at a place last night, and it was kind of in a tourist part of, near where we live. And you could definitely tell the people working there were, it was at the end of the weekend. I'm sure they had a rough, and I'm sure it's probably similar in other places around the country, right? The same thing where people are coming in, making it hard for local people to live because the cost of living is getting so expensive.
Right.
And so I'm sure this is not a unique story to your area, but it's something. I'm glad you highlight it, though, because I think if nothing else, people can realize, hey, when you're traveling around, give the people that are working there a little break, because at the end of the day, they're not making, a ton of money, and, they're doing really hard work, right? That's not easy stuff. So I think maybe
Yep. It's not easy stuff. And that's, one thing that, I used to be a waitress back in the day. I know what it's like. You work your butts off. And then when you're in a tourist town and you're short staffed, because like I said, it's hard to find employees, they're pulling extra weight. They're doing more than the normal, because we are having to pick up the slack because of the lack of employment. So, I always tell people, give our hospitality staff a little bit of grace and appreciate them, because we are here to serve our tourists and our customers, but we do appreciate the nice people and the appreciative people, and the ones that, are just happy. We understand. And I guess, that's something that I've learned over the last few years is, we don't understand what people are going through. And so sometimes that can be taken out on the person right in front of them.
I know.
But ultimately, we don't know what that other person's going through. And so we just need to show grace and be nice and, appreciate our workers that are serving us in whatever you're doing, whether that's at the grocery store or the restaurant or your hotel, those cleaners that are working their butts off to make sure that your room is clean, for when you arrive. Those things are those are hard jobs. And when you're in the tourist industry, that is one thing that we really, really pay attention to. I was talking last night, my husband and I went to the local pizzeria in town, and we love their salads. And so we got a salad and a cauliflower crust pizza, and we were sitting there, and a couple of the workers from the local bar come in, and they were having dinner. And I was asking them, okay, how's this summer been? How are you guys fill in with the clientele? Are they being friendly? Are they being mean? Like, I want to know that stuff because I promote the travel and tourism for the region. I'm bringing them here. So I want to know, okay, do I need to change my demographic? Do I need to change my focus? What type of people am I attracting with our advertising, and what is working, what isn't? And so I love that feedback from our hoteliers and our local restaurants and bars and all the tourism staff, even our staff here at the hot pools and swimming pools. I want to know, okay, what people are being mean, how do you feel? Are they being, when they come in, are they ornery? What types of people are they? Are they from Utah? Are they from California? Are they from Idaho? I want to know.
Yeah. That's cool. So and that's part of your grant part, right? Where you're doing some stuff trying to get some more funding. How did you get into that little position? Is that something that you've developed over time, or is it just you doing kind of the grant funding?
So yeah, we have a board so our board is made up of representatives from cities, chambers, Idaho Fish and Game, Shoshone-Bannock tribes. We have a member from every area in Southeast Idaho.
Okay. Oh, wow. So what is that area? How big? Like, how far out does Southeast Idaho go? Like, what cities does that go out to?
So it starts at Malad at the Utah border, over to Bear Lake, the Montpelier Garden City border, over to Soda Springs area, and then over to American Falls and Blackfoot.
Okay, American Falls. Yeah, so you got that nice American Falls, that corner. So yeah, Pocatello. And then does it go up to Idaho Falls?
Nope. Just before Idaho Falls is where our cutoff is.
Gotcha. So that's basically that corner, that southeastern,
bottom southeast
corner from basically Pocatello is the big city in there that's up in the upper. Okay. Yeah, exactly. You got it. Yeah, and you're right on the edge. You've got forests all around you, but that's all national forest, right? That's just kind of around. Yeah.
We have the Caribou National Forest just outside of us here. And then, of course, we have all the Bannock County area. So we have 11 counties in our Southeast Idaho region. And so how our grant is funded is we operate off the 2% state bed tax that's collected in Southeast Idaho. So every lodger, doesn't matter if you're a nightly rental, monthly rental, if you are a rental, you should be collecting and remitting that 2% bed tax to the state of Idaho. And that is how we are funded. And so there's 3 grantees in our region, Bear Lake Convention and Visitors Bureau, Pocatello Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then Southeast Idaho High Country. And so us 3 grantees work together. We all apply for that 2% bed tax, and we strategically work together to market what we need to market for our area. And, the state has asked us, how come you guys just don't do one grant and Destiny just, do the entire grant for the entire region? But the reason why we separate it out is because Bear Lake is kind of its own demographic. You've got the large sailboats, the big speed boats. You've got the big, huge boats that people are bringing in,
Oh, gosh. So Bear Lake is not a small lake. This is a massive lake.
No, massive lake. And so you are getting so many people that have those, $100,000 boats that they're putting in the water. So that's typically where they're going to go for the bigger lake. So you have that type of market, right? And then, of course, that recreation with the families and the beach and all the things that you can do there and the water sports. But then you have Pocatello, where they really, besides Lava's the second largest location for accommodations. So, and that's why I say, Lava
big.
has just really, we are big. We've just grown.
Even though it's amazing. Even though you only have 400 people there, you've got
Yep.
the second largest facilities next to Pocatello.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's, accommodations, not necessarily shopping, but for overnight stays. And so what Pocatello focuses on is they have the larger venues. They have Portneuf Amphitheater. They have the Holt Arena. They have the Mech Center. Those three venues alone, besides the university, they have a place to house the large venues, even the fairgrounds. They can do rodeos to concerts to sporting events. They have wrestling tournaments and all the sport tournaments there. There's so many things going on in that type of industry that's kind of their focus, and also the business leisure. They can really attract, bringing in those small conferences and things like that. So that's where their market is, where for Southeast Idaho high country, our focus and market is really all that outdoor recreation that we have throughout the region, but we want to include all our small little towns. Like Soda Springs, they have a couple motels, but they have the geyser. They have some, attractions there. We have one scenic and one historic byway that goes through our region. We have the Oregon Trail Bear Lake Scenic Byway, and then we have the Pioneer Historic Byway. So, but for those byways, these are really focused on the people that want to stop and see.
They attract the old history.
Exactly. They want to read the signs. They want to read the history on, the old Oregon Trail and when it, crossed through that part of the town. And so we have a lot of those type of history buffs that love to travel the byways. And so that's kind of where we focus on, is those smaller communities and feature what they have to offer. For example, Blackfoot, they don't have very many accommodations, but it's a great place to stop at the Idaho Potato Museum. People love to take pictures by the huge, huge potato outside of the museum and eat a farm-grown Idaho potato at their potato bar. So things like that are just a little quirky, a little different. We've always talked about, we want to be known for more than just potatoes. But in reality, that's what people automatically assume. If you say, oh, yeah, I live in Idaho. Oh,
So potatoes are still like, people still think Idaho's just
yeah.
potatoes.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're like, oh, you get some great potatoes. Yes, we do.
That's pretty funny.
So we want to be known for something different than just potatoes. But again, it's kind of, okay, what are we really known for? And I really feel that we should be known for our recreation of all types.
Yeah, well, that's the thing you are. That's the cool thing about, what I love about this conversation is we haven't talked about fly fishing at all. And I knew, this is going to be focused on, which is great because we do occasionally these episodes that aren't fly fishing at all. And the cool thing about it is, on this subject, is that, you have one of the greatest trout rivers in the country, maybe the world. The Henry's Fork of the Snake River, the South Fork of the Snake, and we're heading up there later this year. It's one of the best places for dry fly fishing, and you've got some of the best shops. So, you have all this stuff you're talking about, and you have a lot of other stuff we haven't even talked about today, which is, I think, makes it special on top of potatoes, right?
Right. Well, you mentioned that we have 48 reservoirs, lakes, ponds type fishing spots.
Yeah. And hunting, right? Hunting's probably big too out there.
Oh, hunting's huge out here. And so that's it. Like, you look at those 49 lakes, reservoirs, rivers that you can fish on. That's just a touch on, that's just in our region. So that's what I think is so cool. And that's why I say I really think we need to be known for our outdoor recreation.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's what I know. And we talk, I'm in this, but that is it. I don't even think of potatoes, at all. I think of the outdoor
awesome.
Recreation, right? It's all that stuff.
Right.
So, if somebody was wanting to go, and we have the lavahot.springs.com, you've got, where would you send them if they want to dig more into, maybe the history or what to do? You talked a lot about today, but where do you send people if they want to take this conversation further?
So they can go to idahohighcountry.org. And that's our Southeast Idaho website. And on there is a place where you can request brochures and we can mail them out. I mail those out daily. We get requests all the time. We have a fisherman's guide to Southeast Idaho. So talking about those 49 bodies of water, we have in our guide what type of fish are in these areas. It's got all the local rules, a small map, things like that. So if people are wanting information, more brochures mailed out to them, we can send them out so they have the physical form, or they can download them. They're all downloadable on our website as well. We also have a bird watchers. That's one thing that we hadn't talked about.
Yeah.
Was we have a lot of birding in our area and a lot of birders that love to come and visit us for the amazing birds. And so again, idahohighcountry.org, we have a bird watching guide to Southeast Idaho, RV guide if they are looking for places to camp, to the private local campgrounds, to the state campgrounds. So yeah, Southeast Idaho is a great resource for all the information if you're just wanting to, read up, or lavahhotsprings.com. That will give you our full information for our little town.
Yeah, so lava, and that's a great thing is that we started with lava, but really we've given a nice little southeastern Idaho kind of snippet, right, on everything, not just the lava. So, but Lava Hot Springs is definitely a destination that we're going to be swinging by. So maybe we'll connect with you when we get there, and we'll send everybody out, like you said, all of these great places. And if they have any questions for you, they can remind us again, what is the email if people have any direct questions for you?
So there's two of them. One, the easy one is info@lava.idaho.gov or destiny.egley@lava.idaho.gov.
Perfect. All right, Destiny. Well, we'll leave it there. And as we move ahead, if I get out that way, I'll definitely let you know, and we'll see. I think we're going to probably make this an annual thing just because we got some people really interested. The trip that we put together with the group on the podcast, everybody's super excited to get out there. So, I think we're going to make this an annual Southeast Idaho tour. So, thanks for all the time today, and we'll look forward to keeping in touch with you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Destiny Egley on Traveled, part of the Wet Fly Swing podcast and Swing Outdoors. This podcast was supported by Eastern Idaho's Yellowstone Teton territory. You can support this podcast in Eastern Idaho by heading out to wetflyswing.com/Teton, Teton, and check in there and visit any of those brands. Check out the websites, just dig around there a little bit, and you can plan your trip to Eastern Idaho. Don't forget to check in with me if you've got a spot you'd like us to travel to. Always love to get the feedback. You can send me an email, dave@wetflyswing.com. And one shout out before we get out of here, the Euro School. We're going to be heading up to do that. And although that's filled up this year, we are going to be filling that next year. You can go over to wetflyswing.com/Euro School anytime. Add your name there and we'll follow up with you when we get around to this next year. And one more shout out to our Stillwater School in this neck of the woods. We're heading right back here next year, so we might be doing 2 trips out here. It's going to depend on how much interest we have in this Stillwater School, but we're going to be fishing some of the famous waters out here as well with our friend Phil Roy. Check it out right now, wetflyswing.com/Stillwater School, and we'll follow up with you there. That's all I have for you. I am going to head out of here into the sunset. And it is a great sunset, and there's going to be a full moon as well tonight. This is just one of those nights you're out in this part of the world, the big skies, and we're enjoying it. It's warm. It's one of those days when you spend your time next to the water, and I'm excited to get on the water with you. If you can, check in with me anytime. Love to get on the water and do some fishing, and I'll talk to you soon, and hope you're experiencing the road less traveled.